Alright, you lot, gather round because today we're diving headfirst into a crossover that'll either send you into nostalgic euphoria or make you want to launch your controller through telly. Sonic X Shadow Generation. Yeah, you're right. Game that brings together two of the fastest, edgiest icons of gaming, all wrapped up in a package that promises chaos, speed, and hell of a lot of attitude. But before we kick off this roller coaster, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that bollocks. It helps channel grow, and frankly, I could use ego boost. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Right, let's kick things off with basics. Sonic X Shadow Generations, its ultimate mashup that fans didn't know they needed. Or maybe didn't ask for, but we got it anyway. It's a fast-paced action platformer combining nostalgia of Sonic's high-speed 2D roots with edgier, combat-heavy vibes Shadow brings to the table. Think of it as a love child between Sonic Generations and Shadow Hedgehog Fever Dream, sprinkled with just enough fan service to keep you grinning like an idiot. Story? Oh, buckle up. We got time travel, alternate dimensions, and of course a mysterious big bad who threatens to destroy both Sonic and Shadow's worlds. As always, it's a race against time to collect Chaos Emeralds and restore order, but this time you'll be swapping between two protagonists faster than you can say gotta go fast. Sonic's levels focus on speed and precision, while Shadow's brings a heavier dose of combat, vehicles, and naturally chaos-powered mayhem. Gameplay-wise, it's an action platformer at its core, with sprinkler RPG-like mechanics. You can upgrade abilities, customise your moveset, and even unlock dual character special attacks. If you're a fan of Sonic Generations, Devil May Cry, or even Ratchet and Clank, you'll find bits of those games sprinkled throughout. Key question, does it all come together seamlessly? Or does it feel like an awkward fan mod? Let's get visual, folks. Sonic X Shadow Generations is a bit of a mixed bag in graphics department. On one hand, you got fresh, modern polish with flashy particle effects, dynamic lighting, and vibrant, hyper-stylized environments that scream, "Look at me, I'm next gen." But on the other hand, some textures look like they were ripped straight from a 2010 bargain bin game. A few dodgy models here and there might have you wondering if devs spent more time on Sonic's quills than Shadow's entire existence. Art direction, though, spot on. It's a perfect blend of Sonic's classy, cartoony charm and Shadow's dark, more brooding aesthetic. Picture bright, sprawling green hills clashing with Shadow's industrial wasteland. It's like someone threw a neon rave on a post-apocalyptic scrapyard. And it works. One thing worth shouting about is attention to detail in lighting, where sun reflects off Shadow's metallic overshoots, or how neon signs in city levels illuminate Sonic's iconic smirk. Chef's kiss. However, character animations can be a bit hit or miss. Sonic's sprint looks buttery smooth, but Shadow's combat moves? Let's just say I've seen smoother action in a pub brawl. Real star here, it's level design. It's an absolute roller coaster, literally in some cases. Loops, vertical climbs, death-defying drops keep things exciting, but don't expect much exploration. It's all about speed, and you're either on board or eating dust. In summary, flashy but flawed. It's got vibe, but a bit more polish could have taken it from pretty good to damn impressive. Now time to rip into guts, gameplay mechanics. This is where magic or migraine happens. So let's see how it stacks up. Controls. First off, Sonic feels as smooth as a pint of Guinness on a cold day. His levels are about speed and precision, and controls mostly deliver. Zipping through loops and hitting those homing attacks feels natural. Shadow, however, is a different beast. His combat-focused gameplay adds some weight to controls, but occasionally, like steering a tank on ice. Shadow's overshoes don't always play nice with tight platforming, which can lead to some controller throwing rage moments. Combat? For Sonic, combat's as simple as it's always been. Jump, dash, rinse and repeat. Shadow, though, brings in combos, chaos abilities, and even a selection of weapons. Yeah, weapons. It's like someone thought, let's chuck a bit of Devil May Cry into this and see what happens. It's satisfying when it works, but some enemies are just bullet sponges, dragging fates out longer than necessary. Objectives? You'll be racing through levels, collecting Chaos Emeralds and tackling bosses, but game sprinkles in occasional side missions. Some of these are a blast, like time trial challenges or taking down waves of enemies, while others, well, let's just say no one asked for another ring collection fetch quest. They're about as exciting as watching paint dry. Replayability? Here's where things get interesting. Completing levels unlocks bonus content like alternate routes, hidden collectibles, and character skins. Plus, there's a leaderboard system for speed freaks who love shaving milliseconds off the best times. If you're a completionist, you'll find plenty to keep you coming back. But rest of us, once story's done, it's questionable whether you'll feel itch to replay. Overall, gameplay is solid with some occasional hiccups. It's fun, fast and chaotic, but at times, Mix the Styles feels like a balancing act that hasn't quite found its footing. Now let's plug in our headphones and crank up volume, because Sonic X Shadow Generations brings a mixed bag of audio goodies and questionable choices. Soundtrack? Oh, it slaps. Mostly. Sonic stages are packed with kinda upbeat, adrenaline-pumping tracks you'd expect. Picture techno beats mashed with a sprinkle of rock and a side of nostalgia, and you're on the right track. Then you hit Shadow stages, and vibe takes a sharp turn into darker, grungier territory, with industrial beats and heavy riffs that feel like they crawled straight out of early 2000s. It's an odd mix, it works. Shadow punching robots to metalcore? Sign me up. Sound effects? Usual suspects are all here. Sonic Spin Dash still sounds like a blender on steroids. Iconic ring-collecting ding is as satisfying as ever. Shadow's chaos attacks come with bassy, destructive blasts that'll rattle your speakers nicely. But some environmental sounds feel a bit off. Waterfalls sound like someone pouring a glass of water, and some enemy explosions are more meh than boom. Voice acting, here's where things get spicy. Sonic's voice actor delivers usual cheery, overconfident vibe, which works, even if it's a bit predictable. Shadow, however, still show with his deep, brooding tone. He's basically love child of Batman and every emo band frontman from 2007, and I'm here for it. But some side characters? Woof. Eggman sounds fantastic, but there's an NPC or two whose voice acting is about as convincing as a drunk bloke trying to read Shakespeare on karaoke night. Atmosphere, music and sound effects do a decent job of setting tone. Sonic's levels feel light and energetic, while Shadow's stages carry a weightier, more intense vibe. It's not perfect, but it's good enough to keep you immersed most at time. In short, audio don't reinvent wheel, but it's a solid effort with a few rough edges. Now let's talk about whether Sonic X Shadow Generations runs like a finely tuned sports car or sputters along like a clapped out Vauxhall Corsa. Performance? On surface, game runs surprisingly well. Frame rates hit a solid 60 FPS on most platforms, keeping that blistering sense of speed intact. On higher end rigs, you'll be flying through levels with no hiccups, and even more chaotic combat sections manage to hold steady. But, and this is a big but, if you're playing on older consoles or lower spec PCs, expect occasional stutter. Not game breaking, but enough to make you mutter some colourful language under your breath. Load times? Tolerable, but not exactly snappy. You're looking at 10 to 15 seconds between levels, which is just long enough to make you glance at your phone, but not long enough to start scrolling through Twitter. Bugs and glitches? Now this is where things get spicy. While core gameplay is smooth, there are moments when game decides to remind you that no launch is perfect. Few clipping issues here, dodgy camera angle there, it's all par for course. However, there's one standout bug where Shadow can literally fall through map during specific jumps. Classic. To the credit, devs have already pushed out a patch addressing most of the issues, but some players are still reporting minor annoyances like disappearing textures and overly aggressive collision detection. Developer responsiveness? Speaking of patches, devs seem to have their heads screwed on. They've been active on social media, promising updates and fixes based on community feedback. So if you do encounter a glitch, at least you know someone's working to iron it out. In summary, performance is solid, but not flawless. If you're running it on decent hardware, you'll likely have a smooth ride, but older setups might feel strained. Bugs are there but manageable, and devs seem committed to keeping things in check. Right, time for a big question. Is Sonic X Shadow Generations worth your time, or should you save your hard-earned cash for something else? Here's breakdown. Who should play this game? Hardcore Sonic fans. You lot will eat this up. It's a nostalgia buffet that's just enough modern spice to keep things interesting. Casual gamers, if you're looking for something fast, fun and easy to pick up, this'll scratch that itch. Shadow diehards, you edgy sods finally get your time in spotlight. Enjoy it while it lasts. Completionists and speedrunners, hidden routes, collectibles and leaderboard challenges will keep you busy for hours. Now who should avoid this game? Open world fanatic. If you're expecting expansive maps and deep exploration, jog on. This one's all about linear, fast-paced action. RPG purists, light upgrade system's fun, but don't expect deep, stat-heavy gameplay. And anyone with low tolerance for minor bugs. If a bit of jank makes your blood boil, maybe wait for a few more patches. Pros? High-speed gameplay that's thrilling and addictive, varied level design with stunning environments, great soundtrack that sets tone perfectly, replay value with unlockables, alternative routes, and speed challenges. Shadow's combat adds an exciting layer of chaos. Cons? Some clunky controls, especially for Shadow, occasional bugs and glitches that can break immersion, side missions feel repetitive at times, and performance hiccups on older hardware. So what's the score? Let's call it an 8.5 out of 10. It's a fast, fun ride that delivers on a promise, despite a few bumps along the way. And that's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed this review or found it remotely helpful, smash that like button, hit subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss any future content. Got thoughts on Sonic X Shadow Generations? Maybe you got a bone to pick with me over my score? Drop your comments and questions below. And who knows, might just feature them in a future video. Don't forget to join the Discord server for some cheeky banter, follow me on Twitter for hot takes, and check out links in the description for all good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, I'll see you next time, you magnificent.